realized that glaucoma is one of the leading causes of blindness.
Because there are often no early symptoms, nearly half of those with glaucoma may not even know they have it until vision loss has occurred.
I was diagnosed with normal tension glaucoma in July of 2020. And what we found out at that point was I had already lost 40% of my sight. And you think it only affects people that are, 75 or older, retired, grandparents, and that's not the reality of it.
I didn't think at all glaucoma was going to affect me because I didn't know of anyone that had glaucoma, no one in my family. When you have glaucoma, you can't get back that sight that you lost. And so early detection and treatment is vitally, vitally important.
Don't miss life's most beautiful moments. Schedule an eye exam today.
National Glaucoma Research, a Bright Focus Foundation program, offers free resources and tips for healthy vision.
Learn how to protect your sight at stopglaucoma.org.
Until people come before profit. Until all energy is clean. Until the wild is truly free. Earth Justice will never rest. Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit defending the planet and its people for nearly 50 years. Earth Justice has 150 full-time lawyers fighting in court for our planet's future and representing all clients free of charge. No one fights more cases on the environment than Earth Justice. And we win because these are fights we cannot lose. Until justice stands for all, Earth Justice will never rest. If you share our restless spirit and want to commit to fighting for a just and equitable future for everyone, go to earthjustice.org/neverrest. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
Listen to the man who tells you exactly how he sees it. The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris, every weekday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
It's time! It's time! It's beta time!
You are watching a master at work.
Truth Nation, get ready for the greatest 60 minutes in radio, giving you his authentic and bold opinions, bringing you all the information, entertainment, and conversations you gotta hear. From local issues to trending topics and headline news, it is time for Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, 1017thetruth.com, and streaming live on YouTube. Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is your award-winning host, Kyle Wallace.
Truth to Power here on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. I'm your host, The Truth to Power, Kyle Wallace, and we're coming to you live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talking text line. Again, that is 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk and text line where you can call in and text in to share your thoughts on the greatest 60 minutes in radio. You can always watch and stream us live on the YouTubes by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. That is 1017 The Truth on YouTube. You can give us a like. You can give us a share. You give us a subscribe so you don't miss any of your favorite award-winning 1017 The Truth shows. Shout out to DJ Brother Z holding it down on the ones and the twos. And shout out to you, Truth Nation. Now Truth Nation, I'm gonna keep it local today. I'm gonna keep it local. We're gonna talk about all the things happening here locally in our city of Milwaukee, because there are some things that I discovered over the last week. But in addition to that, I felt like now was a good time to bring it to the forefront because of something that recently happened. Now, Truth Nation, first off, I do want to start with this, is that yesterday we already know we had these storms. We had some very, very bad storms yesterday. And as part of that, I see that there is a silver alert currently now as the Milwaukee police are searching for a critically missing woman. The Milwaukee Police Department, this is from TMJ4, the Milwaukee Police Department is seeking the public's assistance in locating 85-year-old Janet Purnell, who is considered critically missing. Purnell is described as a black female standing at 5'3", weighing about 150 pounds, gray hair, and brown eyes. She was last seen approximately at 10:30 at night wearing a red, orange, gold jacket. She has dementia. She left the house she was at approximately around that time and has not been seen during that time. She walks with a walker. And as we all know, yesterday there were storms, there was flooding in the streets. So she is a critically missing person. And so I just wanted to put that out there just for anybody to be out on the lookout on the northwest side of Milwaukee by Northridge Lakes. So if you're in that area of Northridge Lakes, please be on the lookout of anybody, an elderly woman wandering, potentially an elderly woman just somewhere. But, you know, when we see a black woman, and so I guess for me it always hits different when it's African American, simply because of the fact that, you know, I had a grandmother, I had two beautiful grandmothers that I adore and I love, and I could only imagine. And you know, I remember when my grandfather was getting older, and dementia started kicking in. That's just it's Alzheimer's is an awful way to die. It really is, because you literally start forgetting everything, and then you have your moments, but how painful it could be for the person that's going through it, for a family to watch and see their loved one literally lose their memories and not know who you are is tough. And so I guess when I saw this story here today, it hit me differently as somebody who saw his grandfather struggle with dementia in the end, and kind of just seeing the way that he declined. And I remember there was an incident when he just got into a car one time. He got into his car and he just started driving to go see my auntie who lived in Michigan. He was just driving, and he snapped to out of nowhere, like, wait, why am I on the freeway driving? Where am I going? So it is very sad. So I wanted to put that out there about a critically missing 85-year-old black woman in the city of Milwaukee. Northwest side by Northridge Lakes was last seen around after 10 p.m. last night. She has gray hair, about 5'3". Please be on the lookout if their family. I know it's very agonizing when you cannot locate a loved one. So I just wanted to get that out there. And with that being said, Truth Nation, now I want to transition to what we dealt with yesterday in the community with the storms off the top.
Y'all know what time it is. It's time for Off the Top on Truth to Power. Kyle, let Truth Nation know what you got to get off your chest today.
All right, Truth Nation, in the last calendar year, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, we have experienced some very, very odd weather patterns. It's just been weird. Things that I have never seen. Like, legitimately, I've seen floods, but I haven't seen floods to a certain extent of what we saw. You know, a couple back in August. I've seen tornadoes before, or not even really. I've never really seen a tornado, but we had tornado watches, and you know, we've had tornadoes touch down in Milwaukee. But what we saw yesterday was different. 833-212-1017, Truth Nation. For those who've been around it long enough, have you recalled us ever having 2 straight days of tornado warnings in Milwaukee and Milwaukee County? That, to me, was something that was very different that I had not seen before. And these last 2 days have been like no other that I've seen in Milwaukee. We got this hot weather, which led to weird atmospheric stuff with storms. We've seen that before, but then the tornadoes and heavy rain and flooding, just very odd weather that we saw, where you legitimately had a tornado touching down in Sussex, which is right outside of Milwaukee County. And I know where the tornado, the pathway of the storm yesterday was going right over where I live, my family lives. It was very nerve-wracking. I called my mom and my dad, like, y'all in the basement now. It was very nerve-wracking. And for those who are struggling with now the flooding, I know it hurts. I know it hurts because this is something that we faced only a couple months ago. And what makes this suck is that, once again, our neighbors in our community are dealing with flooded streets and are dealing with potentially flooded basements, and we got to go through it again. I told y'all when I bought my house, I was traumatized by water. I was like, oh no. So anytime I see water, I get traumatized. I get absolutely traumatized. But Truth Nation, I want y'all to be able to hear the fallout from all the storms from yesterday and get some important tidbits on how we can make sure that we can reduce this amount of flooding. Go to 1017 The Truth on YouTube to watch the WISN 12 story, or you can turn up your radio on 101.7 FM or on your app to hear WISN report on their weather watch on what happened yesterday.
Now on Milwaukee's north side near 60th and Thurston. Duke, the storm brought flooding to several streets all across the city. We can see the roads there behind you are underwater this morning.
Oh, big time indeed. So, yeah, this is what it looks like here at 60th and Thurston. I'm standing, actually, it was supposed to be a sidewalk in almost ankle-deep water. If we pan our camera over to your right side of the screen, that is the intersection of 60th and Thurston, or what's supposed to be the intersection of 60th and Thurston. And you can see drivers attempting to use caution when coming through that area. And so kind of want to give a glimpse of what it looks like here in some of the neighborhoods here. Again, this is the sidewalk, but some people who live in this vicinity actually took caution and put their car, or at least put their car on higher ground. And if we go a little bit further, we can see that some people tried to move their car to higher ground and park their nice Mercedes in the backyard there. But take a look at the neighborhood here. You can see we still got standing water after some torrential downpour from last night. Now let's show you all that video from last night, ladies and gentlemen. We were told that 4 cars, they were stranded in the water as tow trucks worked to pull them out. We did catch up with a driver who told 12 News how they actually got stuck.
We was coming down and a car went before us. It was a little car, so we like, okay, we can do it because we got the big truck. We get to going, the wave come up like you want to pull all that. It came through the whole car. We couldn't see nothing. Out of nowhere, car stopped on us. And then the water got to come inside the car and flooded inside the whole car yard. We just got this car fixed, last week? We're mad. Irritated. Mad. Yes.
And of course, keep caution when driving on the road because even 12 inches of water is enough to sweep.
Y'all, let that be a lesson. Don't drive through it. But again, the whole point of this is that with that downpour that we had yesterday, now once again we're dealing with the aftermath of the fact that we have floods inside of our streets, inside the community of Milwaukee. And I'm glad that we have our community cleanup, the 1017 The Truth and Torrey Low Community Cleanup coming up on Saturday, where you can still sign up by going to TorreyLowCleanup.com. That's TorreyLowCleanup.com. Sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, Stein, Hoffels, Cousin Subs, and Waste Management. You can come join us for our cleanup at Evolve Church, Pitts Mortuary, and MLK Elementary School. Because one of the reasons why we see some of this flooding is because of the litter that we have in our streets going into our sewer system. And when I remember last time, people were picking stuff out the sewer and it ended up allowing for stuff to drain. So make sure we stop littering. But this is why you should come and join us on Saturday for the cleanup so we can do our part in cleaning up our community, because the rain ain't gonna stop. This is the only, they say April showers bring May flowers. Well, April showers is showering, and it also rains in May. So definitely want us to be able to pick that up. But again, I just feel like, with the separate events that we had, this is crazy with this flooding, and it sucks. It really does suck. And so anybody that's negatively impacted by that, I'm thinking about you, and hopefully it's not as bad as what it was a couple months ago, but there were multiple across the city of Milwaukee. There were multiple areas. I think 92nd and Hampton, Sherman and Silver Spring had flooding inside the street. So it just, you just don't want to have to deal with that. You get very nervous. You get very, very nervous after what we went through. But Truth Nation, speaking of flooding, we had a conversation about McGovern Park in the past. And McGov used to have a senior center that is now closed. And Truth Nation, there is some new information I wanted to share about the state of McGov Senior Center. And I think you all need to know that, because we had a great conversation a couple months ago about this. And then when it initially happened, we had a good conversation. And now when you fast forward a couple months, the senior center that they wanted to keep alive is now gone. And based off some information I was provided with, the only people you should be blaming is some of the people y'all voted for. I'm going to talk next about why our politicians are to blame for the death of the McGovern Park Senior Center. This is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace. I'll explain next.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube. He's the voice for the people and the community's connection to change.
So I was shocked that they let an advocate get on the air, because I was like, man, do y'all really want to know what's really going on out here in these streets? I wish I could have a whole show that y'all could listen to every phone call that come to my. I could do a whole show on my voice message. Just people calling, talking about what's happening. Just off the voice message, y'all wouldn't even believe what I got in my voice message. That if I'm gonna start a podcast after show, I'm gonna let y'all hear the raw material, because we can't even play it on the air. That's how real it is out here. That's why I ain't got time for all y'all all that extra stuff that y'all be trying to do. I'm just happy that we're able to have these great, powerful conversations, but I'm gonna always remind y'all that we gotta still get out here and get to work.
The Tory Lowe Show, weekdays from 1 to 4 p.m., live on YouTube and right here on 1017 The Truth.
Join me every Friday at 11 a.m. for the Milwaukee Experience with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee. We're a city that knows how to celebrate, where the calendar is packed with festivals, the plates are piled high with flavor, and a lakefront sunrise sets the stage. Here in Milwaukee, every street leads to something worth savoring, a place that welcomes you with open arms and where joy is shared in bites, beats, and cheers. The Milwaukee Experience every Friday at 11 a.m. exclusively on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee.
This April, it's Financial Literacy Month on 1017 The Truth, powered by UW Credit Union. Financial literacy isn't just about money. It's about confidence and making smart decisions for your future. UW Credit Union is here to help with free tools, expert guidance, and resources. From budgeting tips to one-on-one financial coaching and self-guided lessons you can access anytime. Because they're not a bank, they're a partner in your financial journey. Learn more at uwcu.org.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
You are listening to Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on 1017 The Truth and The Truth app. Catch Truth to Power every weekday from noon to 1 p.m.
Baby, 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 slow. I need you to slow down.
Life's better when you are... Life's better when you know you're covered. With a home and auto policy from American Family Insurance, you're not just buying coverage, you're getting an agent who helps you feel protected and prepared. Someone who understands what you've built and what you're building next. Because when your home and your ride are protected the right way, you are free to focus on your family, your goals, and your future. Insure carefully and dream fearlessly with American Family Insurance. Get a quote or find an agent at amfam.com today. It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Make sure you watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. That is 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Oh, my computer done froze. You can give us a like. You can give us a share. You can give us a subscribe so you don't miss any of your favorite award-winning 1017 The Truth shows. Yeah, my computer probably froze because that's probably the government trying to get me. They said, oh, Kyle finna make some people mad. But before I do want to let you all know I did just get an update. Hey, how y'all doing? I did just get an update. letting us know that they did find the missing woman. She was located off of 60th and Bradley, so that just happened. You located, yes. Alive, yes. Located alive, yes. I guess the good part about it is she was. Sorry, Zach, you threw me off. I was like, well, you know what? I just saw that they found her, so I believe she was located alive. And also, in addition to that, I guess the good part is that she was wandering after the storm. So anyways, switching gears, Zach really threw me off with that one. I was like, I guess that's a good thought. But switching gears, Truth Nation. All right, so we discussed the floods, right? I talked about these floods. And I want to shift this conversation to something deeper than just the floods. And the floods are just terrible, right? But there's something deeper that we have to address. And what happens when our local elected officials lack foresight, vision, and long-term planning? That is something that persists and continues to happen here in the city of Milwaukee. Is that we continue to see the end result of when folks don't have a vision for a future. And what we see a lot of times is when the loud voices of the minority dictate decisions, it ultimately impacts the majority, many times negatively. In Truth Nation, the story of McGovern Park here in Milwaukee, the story of the McGovern Park Senior Center here in Milwaukee is a sad one. And it's an unfortunate and deeply troubling story of the demise of McGovern Park Senior Center. And it didn't have to be like this. And the reason why I bring this up is because it was recently brought to my attention that this was something that they tried to advocate for. They tried to educate. They tried to let people know that, hey, listen, if you do not vote to rebuild McGovern Senior Center, we are going to have to close the Senior Center. This has been told to them for months at the highest level from the county executive's office. They said, hey, we need to do this. And the reason why I bring this up because McGovern Senior Center is closed now because of a storm that happened months ago. And having that storm yesterday was just a reminder of, man, storms can damage lives. Storms can, destroy your day-to-day operation. So, Truth Nation, your elected officials made the decision to dismantle a vital senior community, and it raises a serious question about whether they truly understood the consequences of their action. And that is the biggest issue that I have here in Milwaukee, is that I'm truly learning is that a lot of these politicians, a lot of these elected folks, they don't really care what you think or what you have to say. They make up their mind before you even try to push back against something. Because what they fully understand is that rarely will they be unseated. Rarely will they lose a race. Rarely will they even have an opponent when they're running for an election. Now, Truth Nation, last summer I spoke about the importance of the Milwaukee County supervisors voting to renovate McGovern Senior Center. I talked about that extensively. And I talked about it because of my experience at Washington Park last summer. Now, when my cousin passed away last summer, we held an event at the Washington Park Senior Center. Now, I remember when I went into that senior center, it was like stepping inside of an old building. It was like being in the movie Back to the Future, traveling in time backwards because the facility was so outdated. It was clearly neglected. It needed significant maintenance in order to be modernized. Like, that was clear to me. So then when I heard the story about us having funding to potentially allocate funds to renovate and update McGovern Park Senior Center, I said, well, this is great. You mean to tell me we're going to have additional funding to be able to rebuild the senior center at McGovern Park? I said, this is great. I was excited about it. I don't know why anybody would vote against it. And especially during a time right now where you literally have the largest generation in American history entering their 70s. Entering a time where you start to see a slow decline. I mean, people in their 70s still are now springy a little bit. But you understand you have an aging population that needs somewhere to go because a senior is 55 and up, and that includes our very own Sherwin Hughes' population. Now, Sherwin is, though he may be in his 50s, he's far away from going to a senior center. Far, far away. Damn. But that Gen X, I'm just being honest, but Gen X is, they also are senior citizens at this point. And so you would think there will be a high demand and a high desire and a high want for high quality and affordable housing with this increasing population of people in senior centers. You would think that would be a high priority. But obviously, with our with our Milwaukee County Supervisors Board, that just wasn't the case. And when I heard about this project, I was so excited because it was practical, it was necessary, but most importantly, it made sense. And that's the thing that matters the most to me is, does it make sense? Yes, then let's do it. But unfortunately, here in Milwaukee, we have often elected officials based on who we know, who we like, or popularity, rather than if they have competence or expertise to lead in that role. That is one of the biggest issues that we have here in the city of Milwaukee. We don't have enough competent people leading. And the Milwaukee County Board ultimately voted against the renovations and really basically tearing down and building a brand new McGovern Park Senior Center in a brand new housing facility. They voted against it. Now, I've talked about this over and over. You already know what happened after that. A storm hit in August and the building was severely damaged and it will never open again. And that is something that was reported in the news, and something that I found out recently is that the McGovern Senior Center had been closed since August. The senior center that they voted not to renovate has been closed since August, and I was told it would never open again. So I need y'all to understand that this was due to a decision by the people that some of y'all elected. The McGovern Park Senior Center went from getting a $2 million in federal investment to develop a brand new state-of-the-art affordable housing where seniors would have been living for free. Y'all gotta understand. The seniors would have been living there for free, and in addition to that, you would have had a brand new senior center at the bottom of that as part of that project. But for some reason, our elected officials voted no. So our seniors went from almost having a brand new investment in the community, in Milwaukee's black community, to now our seniors living in that area have nothing. They have nothing. They have no senior facility anymore. And it's all based off decisions from our local politicians. Now you have seniors who once relied on that space without having a place to gather for almost a year, forcing them to either search for alternatives or remain at home, isolated at home. This outcome, this failure, is a direct result of decisions made by your elected officials. Thanks to the supervisors who voted to reject this project, starting with Felicia A. Martin, who it is her district. And I say her name first is because that is her district, and she voted no against it. And now, if you ask her what the plan is, she ain't got no concrete plan. I know I've been trying to ask her.
Bye, Felicia.
And somehow she just got reelected. Y'all, I'm just be honest. Some of y'all shouldn't be voting. Some of y'all shouldn't, because some of y'all just go in there and say, "Oh, I know her." How do you have that big of a blunder, that big of a failure, and you win your reelection when somebody is actively running against you? That does not make sense to me. Like, what are we doing in our city? We are so unserious in the city of Milwaukee. We really are. We all just vote for anybody. That is the problem that I have. But in addition to her voting against it in her own district, Deanna Alexander voted against it. Justin Belinsky voted against it. Jack Elkblad voted against it. It sounds like a whole lot of white names to me. Patty Logsdon voted against it. Juan Miguel Martinez voted against it. Ann O'Connor voted against it. Stephen Shea voted against it. Kathleen Vincent voted against it. And chairwoman Marcelia Nicholson voted against it. Don't get me started on her, because that's the same chairwoman we have who spent $13,000 in donor money on Ubers, Lyfts, cocktails, and candy, according to the Journal Sentinel. She spent $3,600 on lavish steakhouse food and seafood and high-end wine and cocktail bars. And she went to multiple cities across the U.S. where she went shopping at gourmet chocolate shops with donor money. And she ran unopposed. I'm telling y'all here in the city of Milwaukee, in Milwaukee County, we got a problem. We have a big problem. What bothers me about this list of names is, yes, I'm going to look at these names and I'm going to say most of these people are probably white. I can look it up and see, and most of them are white or Hispanic. So we letting folks who don't look like us determine the future of our seniors. But what makes it even worse, the person that is in charge of the district voted against her own district and her seniors. And now, one thing that upsets me about this is that I did reach out to some of these folks to try to talk to them. I reached out to Marcelia Nicholson in her out of office, or it wasn't out of office, her email that after I sent it said, hey, make sure you reach out to these two people. It told me to reach out to a person named Aaron Coffey, and it told me to reach out to a person named Alina Morales. Do y'all know when I reached out to those two people, the message I got? It literally said, we won't be able to deliver this message to Aline and Aaron as their email addresses no longer exist. That is what your elected official has. Your elected official, Marcelia Nicholson, told us I emailed her asking for an interview, and I got a reply message saying, hey, reach out to these two people. And the two people that I can reach out to, my email is saying that their emails no longer exist. Now, I'm going to send the email and see what happens. I'll give y'all an update on that. But my whole point about this is it all comes down to competency. That's what it comes down to me. In 833-212-1017, Truth Nation, can somebody please explain to me, why don't we hold our local officials accountable? Why do we keep electing these people? 833-212-1017. I just gave you an example of two individuals who clearly aren't doing their job to the best of their ability. And they both, one ran unopposed, and the other one won their election. But can you show me a track record of what they're doing that is successful? 833-212-1017. But somehow we keep voting for them. Why do we allow for this to slide? Why do we allow for this to happen? Like, at what point are we finally going to demand that people actually do something that helps our community and helps our city and helps our county? That is the frustration that I have. We are just a do-nothing community. Y'all sit here and y'all moan, y'all yell, y'all scream, y'all get upset about Donald Trump. But then when it comes to your own local politicians, what are y'all doing? NPS bullied us. Well, they didn't bully us. They tricked us into voting to give them $250 million. And then after they got the money, they say, oh, well, we don't know what we're going to do with it. What do y'all want to do with it? Like, how do we expect for our city ever to advance when we don't put the right people in charge? And let me just say, yes, Marcelia Nicholson spent $13,000 on steakhouses and Ubers and Lyfts and gourmet chocolate. Technically, it's not illegal to do that. It just raises questions about accountability and her priorities. Like, these are the individuals that people be voting for. It blows my mind. It really does. It really does. These are the people that y'all just don't care what they do. We don't hold them accountable. I just don't understand how Felicia Martin, who I reached out to as well for an interview. She was going to join me before. Well, I shouldn't say that. I reached out. I called about an interview. I talked to whoever her secretary or whoever that was, and they were so excited for the interview. And then I don't know what happened. They ghosted me. So I reached out again for an interview. We'll see what happens. But again, Truth Nation, I guess I'm venting frustration with when I look at my city, when I look at these floods in the streets, and I see how dirty our community can be and is, and that's why we're cleaning up the community. When I think about our seniors, when I think about somebody a senior that went missing, right? When I think about, are we offering the best quality for our seniors? Are we offering the best people to help have a vision for our community and our city? And I say no. That's what makes me so mad about this. I'm be honest, our elected politicians, I'm not an elected politician. I don't want to do that. I don't think I'm bright enough for that. I think I have a vision and a plan, but I don't know if I'm built for all that. But we have people who aren't built for it, who are currently in office right now, not doing enough to uplift our community. I give credit to David Crowley because he's doing a lot of good things. He is. But the County Board of Supervisors, trash. Trash. Absolutely trash. The Common Council of the City of Milwaukee, trash. Absolutely trash. You got Jose Perez, the Common Council president, coming up here to the studio wanting to fight Sherwin, but then he get his booty pinched and he go to the police and act like a victim, which he could have been a victim. I don't know. The police didn't press charges, so I don't know what happened. I wasn't there for it. But what I'm saying is we got people in office who have the wrong priorities. You got folks arguing about having a name on some policy. We got folks fighting with each other. Folks acting like they scared because a black man gets loud. Like, I'm telling y'all this right now. It is a mess in this city. It is a mess in this county. But unfortunately, y'all ain't going to do nothing about it, so we're going to be stuck with this. Tom Barrett won an election, I believe, in 2004. And proceeded to win every election after that. Mayor Cavalier Johnson just got into office. Now I guess it's like 6 years, 7 years now. And guess what? He is going to be mayor of Milwaukee until he doesn't want to be mayor anymore. Y'all don't see that to be a problem? 833-212-1017. This is a legit question that I have. I do want to know. I want to know, why do we keep electing these same elected officials? Why do we keep electing these same people and not holding them accountable? Because I know somebody ran against Felicia Martin, and she should have definitely lost her seat after this happened. Like, how do you turn down a $2 million investment, and then the building that you wanted to, that was going to have the investment, is now closed, and y'all voted for this person again? It makes no sense to me. In 833-212-1017, I also want to hear from the people who push back, who called into my show this summer, and people who commented on social media when there was a post up saying, oh, well, they shouldn't take that public land and them acres away from the community and the people. I want to hear from y'all. I do, because when you're wrong, you should say, okay, I was wrong. What now? What's next? And I asked that question, what was next, months ago, and I'm going to try to ask it again. I asked for Felicia Martin to come on again, so hopefully we'll see if she'll come on. But 833-212-1017, maybe I'm just the only one that's upset about it. Maybe I'm just a young grump. Maybe I'm the only one that likes to hold people accountable. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm overreacting. 833-212-1017. You can also watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. That is 1017 The Truth on YouTube. This is Truth to Power with Kyle Walls. I'll continue the conversation next.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Brunch plans? Happy hour plans? Either way, get loaded. At Loaded Spud, we turn the classic baked potato into a full-on flavor experience. Swing through for brunch favorites like shrimp and grits and chicken and waffles, then come back afterward for happy hour and our loaded bowls, paired with cold drinks and a laid-back vibe. Enjoy happy hour from 4 until 10 p.m. with special prices on loaded potato favorites and drinks. Bring your friends and get your Spud on. Big portions, big flavor, no ordinary bar food. There's always a good time to get loaded. Stop in today at 789 North Water Street or visit online at letsgetloaded.online.
Truth Nation, it's that time again for the Tory Low Community Cleanup. Mark your calendars for Saturday, April 18th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. as we come together to clean up the city of Milwaukee. Be part of making a difference in our community. The Tory Low Community Cleanup, Saturday, April 18th, 8 to noon. Sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, Steinhoffels, Cousin Subs, Waste Management, and presented by the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District, your clean water partner, serving Greater Milwaukee for 100 years. Breaking down the issues that shape our city and our future.
If oil gets to $90 a barrel, I'll be able to pay off my house. I think war is awful. It's terrible. It doesn't resolve things. It creates long-lasting hatred and even more conflict that the American people are always going to find themselves involved in.
It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 to noon.
But if I don't have a mortgage, you know what I mean? You take the good with the bad. Didn't Donald Trump say he was going to end the wars? You can't have America first if you're involved in all these foreign wars. And there's people that believed him when he said that. He doesn't like wars. He said it many times. Said it on the campaign trail.
Catch it live on YouTube or tune in to 1017 The Truth.
He's bombed just as much in his first year as any warmongering hawk president we've ever seen since World War II.
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
70 million people in the U.S. have learning and thinking differences, like ADHD and dyslexia. Each has their own story. This is ours. At first, I thought it was just a phase. Then schoolwork became a struggle. Emotions got bigger, and my kids started falling behind. I felt alone, like I was lost in the dark trying to find answers. Then I learned about Understood.org, a nonprofit empowering parents and kids like us. It was like we had a light to show us the path ahead. Whenever new challenges came up, their guidance helped us figure out our next step. We still have tough days, but now we have direction. And I have the tools and resources I need to help my child thrive. No matter where you are on the path, Understood can help you keep moving forward. Visit understood.org/yourpath today.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I'm giving away cash money today, Truth Nation. So make sure you stay locked in, because we will be getting somebody entered to win $5,000. Courtesy of the award-winning 1017 The Truth. But before we do, Truth Nation, is that time of year again for the Tory Low Community Cleanup presented by the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District. Mark your calendars for Saturday, April 18th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. as we come together to clean up the city of Milwaukee. We'll be meeting at Evolve Church from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., Pitts Mortuary from 9:30 to 10:30, and then from MLK Elementary from 11 until 12. After that, we will be eating food inside of MLK Elementary School. Also, Truth Nation, you can get rid of your hazardous household items thanks to MMSD, because from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at MLK Elementary School, they will have a drop-off site for you to drop off your items like your old antifreeze, your old paint thinner, your batteries, propane, cylinders, and pesticides. Make sure you go to MMSD to see exactly all the hazardous things that you can drop off, but we will be having that on Saturday. So please sign up for the Tory Low Community Cleanup by going to ToryLowCleanup.com. That is ToryLowCleanup.com. The Tory Low Community Cleanup is sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, Steinhoffels, Cousin Subs, and Waste Management. We'll also be having food there. Just announced, Pops is going to be dropping off some food there, so we'll have Pops. We'll have some ice cream from Ben & Jerry's, and we will also have Cousin Sub. So it's going to be a great day of cleaning up. I know right now there is some rain in the forecast, but we're hoping to try to make sure the rain stays away so we can have a beautiful and safe weekend. Oh, right now there's no rain. Well, yeah, hey! Cloudy, but no rain, and a little cold, so make sure you bring your jacket. But we'll be able to survive as we hopefully clean up our community, and hopefully all the rain gets out the way. But 833-212-1017. You can watch the stream live on YouTube by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. And I'm just venting my frustration with the fact that, again, I got some information told to me about kind of those who are in power don't really pay attention to the smart people. And with that storm yesterday, I was really triggered because that storm yesterday reminded me of the fact that we have this McGovern Park Senior Center that no longer will be open. It will never open again. And this summer, there are a lot of activists and a lot of folks who don't look like us, right? And that's the biggest thing that always bothers me is that you have, and again, y'all know me, I vote Democrat, but I can't stand liberals. Now, can't stand those staunch far-right conservatives. They're terrible people. But these loony liberals come into communities and they try to think they're doing right by the community or doing right by the environment, when in reality, they're actually hurting our community. That's why we need to be the ones leading the conversation. We need to be the ones speaking out. And that's why I was so confused why a black woman, like County Board Supervisor Martin, why a black woman would have such a terrible vision for the community to vote down a $2 million federal investment that the Milwaukee County Executive was advocating for. The person who was in charge of advocating for, Marcelia Nicholson, who is the chairwoman of the County Board of Supervisors, voted against it. And I hope to have them on the show. I hope they don't get all scared and afraid to come on the show. I mean, I really want to talk about their vision because I want to know what's next. I just don't understand why you would vote down something and you have no plan for what's next, and then when the place floods, you have nothing to say. Our community deserves better, and maybe that's where my issue comes, is that when I think about our black community, I want the best for us. I want the best education. I want the best opportunities for jobs. I want the best leisure. Like the one thing that I learned going to these white schools is I learned that these folks, they live life outside of their community, but when inside their community, they make sure that the community has the best. They make sure the community has the best baseball field. They make sure the community has the best little leagues. They make sure the communities have the best basketball courts. They make sure the community's got the best tennis courts. Hell, this is how quick they act. Pickleball just became this phenomena within the last 4 to 5 years amongst older people and some younger people now. And now what you'll see in some of these communities is that they're having pickleball courts. Why? It's because that's what their community is asking for, so they say they're going to deliver. And so that's what baffles me, is that when our community asks for something, we don't really get things delivered to us. And far too often, a lot of y'all aren't holding these elected officials who aren't working in your best interest accountable. And I asked before the break at 833-212-1017, why is that? Why don't we hold our elected officials accountable? And why do we keep electing the same people over and over and over? Like, I don't know what it takes for elected official to lose. And me being Milwaukee in my entire life, I have no idea what it takes for an incumbent mayor to lose, because when Tom Barrett was mayor, nothing. He won every single election. When Mayor Norquist was a mayor, he got elected, and I just remember he got to leave on his own terms. Now that Cavalier Johnson is in office, who we'll see how he does, I don't think anybody will ever vote him out. I don't. I think he'll be mayor for life. And, I'm supporting him, and I hope that he can do the best job that he can. But, damn, let's give somebody a little competition. Let's make somebody sweat a little bit. Let's make them understand that we have demands, too. Voting matters. Research matters. And I feel like a lot of times people just go and check a box. And literally the smartest people in the room, the people hired to help make smart and sound decisions, were not listened to inside of Milwaukee County. And it makes me wonder, how often does this happen? How often do we run into the folks who are hired to help make these decisions, and the politician says, these activists, these white people who love the community, they love the trees, they say they want to save these park lands, we're going to listen to them. It makes no sense to me. It really doesn't make any sense to me. So again, I just feel like our politicians aren't working in our best interest, and for some reason they keep winning. And as long as we continue to allow for these folks to stay in office, as long as we continue to let these folks stay elected, as long as we allow for these people to have a cushy seat, as long as we call and complain but we don't actually vote, we're not going to get anything done. We're not. Y'all had literally the chairwoman of the damn county board spent $13,000 on nonsense of campaign cash. And again, it's not illegal, but what are we doing? And that's what people spending money on, and y'all not mad about it. So again, maybe I just don't get it. Maybe I don't understand. Maybe I'm just, like I said before, old grump. But 833-212-1017. LaRon said, Kyle, why don't they want to do these things? There isn't public park that has a basketball court where someone hasn't gotten shot. That's why. Oh, he said that. Well, we got basketball courts, LaRon. That ain't going to save the basketball courts. But what about our seniors? That's what I really want to know is why don't people care enough about our seniors to want to provide them with a great space? And somebody said, why they keep voting Trump in? Yeah, because, listen, Sherry said on the talking text line, why do people keep voting Trump in? Because they're delusional. They are delusional. And I wasn't going to get into Trump today, but Trump voters are delusional, and maybe Milwaukee voters are delusional as well. Maybe we're way too committed to a political affiliation in a party than we are committed to actually getting stuff done. Because when I look on a national level and I look on a local level, there is not enough things being done for the community that I care about. And no, I'm not racist. I'm not offensive. I'm not none of that. I just prioritize the black community over any and every community. I have no qualms and no issues in saying that. I will tell that to anybody. My first priority as a citizen of Milwaukee, my first priority as somebody born and raised in Milwaukee, is black folks in Milwaukee. The South Side, listen, good luck to you. That's not my priority. What type of investments they get, what type of support they get, what type of backing they get, I don't give a damn about that because that doesn't impact the north side of Milwaukee. The black community makes up the majority of Milwaukee, but we are the ones that are struggling and hurting the most, and we are also the ones that get the least. We get the least. We get the least, the worst, best outcomes. So again, that's where a lot of my frustration stems from, is the fact that I just feel like we're a losing community, man. I really do. I really do. But 833-212-1017. Again, that is the Truth Talking text line. You can also watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. That is 1017 The Truth on YouTube. As I vent my frustration that McGuff Senior Center was closed, and based off some conversations I had, these senior centers, it was told directly to them, if you do not vote to build the brand new senior center and the brand new affordable housing, the building will close. And they still voted to close the building. They were told like that's what happened. And it was baffling to people to try to understand, why would you do this? Do y'all understand how frustrating it has to be some of the smart people that get hired to do things, and to have people sit here and say, well, I understand what you're saying, but we're going to do this. And then to watch only a couple months later that these people get elected in office. It just doesn't make sense to me. Milwaukee is becoming too much for me to bear. But again, 833-212-1017. Marquis said, I'm not voting anymore. It doesn't matter. Our streets are terrible. I just had to buy 4 new tires for $1,600. That's another problem. I was driving to my parents' crib a couple of days ago with my lady, and all we heard was boom, 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 boom. I'm so used to it. She was like, dude, what's going on with these streets? Like, man, this is bad. I said, oh, yeah, I guess so. I'm used to going to my parents' house. I'm just used to it. That's not normal. Like, when you drive in a car, I don't know, Brother Z, you might live in a better area in Milwaukee. Y'all streets got potholes over there? Yeah, he got potholes. You know that's not, you know when you drive, even when it's not a pothole, but you know when you drive and you hear the do-do-do-do-do and it just rumbles? I guess that's not normal in all communities. But 833-212-1017. This is Truth to Power, Kyle Walsh. Before we go to break, though, got to get y'all
one call, that's all.
One call, that's all is right. Truth Nation, right now is your chance to be entered to win $5,000 courtesy of the One Call, That's All Gruber Cash giveaway. Be caller number 10 right now at 833-212-1017 for your chance to be entered to win $5,000 courtesy of Gruber Law Offices in the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Again, be caller number 10 right now at 833-212-1017 and you will be entered to win $5,000 courtesy of 1017 The Truth and Gruber Law Offices. That is caller number 10. And remember, if you or a loved one is ever injured in an accident, contact Gruber Law Office today or visit gruber-law.com. That is caller number 10 right now at 833-212-1017. For official contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com. Truth Nation, I'll share my last thoughts on the other side. And I hope that these politicians who I reached out to, I hope that they join the show. We'll see.
It is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Tune into the award-winning 1017 The Truth Business Spotlight with Sweet Talks Med and Spa this Thursday at 3:57 p.m. between the Tori Lowe Show and Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris. We'll be joined by Operations Manager Maddie, who will discuss Sweet Talks Med and Spa's non-surgical anti-aging and wellness treatments and how every service is customized to fit your individual needs. Again, that is the Business Spotlight this Thursday with Sweet Talks Med and Spa at 3:57 p.m. right here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
Join me every Friday at 11 a.m. for the Milwaukee Experience with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee. We're a city that knows how to celebrate, where the calendar is packed with festivals, the plates are piled high with flavor, and a lakefront sunrise sets the stage. Here in Milwaukee, every street leads to something worth savoring, a place that welcomes you with open arms and where joy is shared in bites, beats, and cheers. The Milwaukee Experience every Friday at 11 a.m. exclusively on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee.
Hi, I'm Eric Zauner, Marine Corps veteran and board member for the Center for Veterans Issues, calling on the community to tee it up for a great cause. On Monday, June 15th, CVI is hosting its 5th annual golf outing at the River Club in Mequon. This year's event is supporting CVI's Permanent Supportive Housing Program, dedicated to assisting chronically homeless or disabled veterans and their families. Grab your clubs and support our veterans today. Register to golf, sponsor, or donate at cvivet.org/events.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. You might miss someone who has valuable skills to offer to help your business thrive right now and in the future. Because the truth is this: Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. When you let their story unfold, you gain a competitive advantage, because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. See the real person, complete. See what others miss. Hire skills first. Learn why it's a competitive advantage at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Shout out to y'all, Truth Nation. I think we're getting a little bit closer to getting somebody else entered to win this cash. I think it may be the end of May or end of April. I think probably end of May. End of May is probably the next time we're giving this money away, but don't turn me into a lie. But Truth Nation, right now I'm just venting my frustration with the elected officials that we have here. Is this with election last week, and you got folks running unopposed, even though I don't know what they're doing. And specifically, this person didn't run unopposed. Felicia Martin, who is the 7th District County Board member, ran against somebody. She won, but I just don't understand how she did win, because she had a blunder that is significant, that negatively impacts people in that community, seniors in that community. The most vulnerable people in that community outside of children are our seniors. We had Senior Center McGovern Park inside of our community that was utilized by the community that needed $2 million in deferred and maintenance. It needed $2 million in maintenance. You were given a get-out-of-jail-free card because the federal government, the Trump-led federal government, allocated $2 million to Milwaukee County to renovate and rebuild McGovern Park. But people pushed back because it was going to take a couple more acres of land out of 44 acres. I think you're going to use 5.5 acres of land out of 46 acres of land out there in McGovern Park. And they voted no. A storm hits, and now it's closed for good. Closed for good. And I just don't understand how somebody can make that vital, that terrible a decision and find their way to get reelected. And then so I reached out to Marcelia Nicholson, who is the chairwoman, and I voted. I didn't vote. I emailed. I reached out to email to try to get an interview. And let me try to check here. I copy and pasted the email, and it didn't work, but we're going to try to figure it out. Because I want to try to get her on, and I want to try to get Felicia Martin on, because I just want to know what their vision is. I don't want to attack them. It is what it is. Things are done. But I do want to know what their vision is for the city of Milwaukee, for the county of Milwaukee, and the districts that they lead. Because they voted no against a project that would have positively impacted the black community, and now the black community is negatively impacted, and I feel like they don't have to answer for it. Why do we allow for people not to have to answer for the destruction that they create in our community? We yell and we scream when a white man do something. We get mad at Donald Trump because he did this. Well, Donald Trump's office, his White House sent us $2 million, and our elected officials said, no, we don't want it. We don't want that money. We don't want to update and bring state-of-the-art facility to our community. We don't want that for the black community. We don't want that for the elderly community. We don't want us to have the best. That's exactly what they said with their vote. That is exactly what they said with their vote. Ooh, good news. April 27th or April 29th, we may have Felicia Martin on. So we shall see, because I'm going to ask her a question of what her vision is and why she had that vote and what is next. What is next? So Truth Nation, I'll keep y'all updated on that as I try to get these folks on to answer to y'all, because a lot of y'all live in that community and a lot of y'all lost the space. But this has been Truth to Power here on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Again, I am your host of Truth to Power, Kyle Wallace, and coming up next you have the Tory Lowe Show from 1 to 4. You also have Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris, all live today. Sherwin was on assignment today, but make sure you stay tapped in to the Tory Lowe Show coming up from 1 to 4. Truth Nation, I love y'all, I appreciate y'all, and I will talk to y'all next week. Thank you so much to DJ Brother Z. Thank you so much to y'all. I said next week. I mean tomorrow. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. We'll have more great content. Peace out, y'all. Thank y'all.
In 1987, the Bucks took on the world and changed basketball forever.
At stake, basketball supremacy in the